I fucking hate Christmas. Every year, people put on fake smiles and pretend cheer to celebrate the air getting colder and days getting shorter. What's to like about that? The holiday is just a distraction from how shitty winter really is. The worst part of the season is the return of the tapping. It starts on Thanksgiving. After gorging on turkey and watching the Bozo Gar and Ray special, once I'm finally in bed, it begins. Tap, tap, tap. 3 taps to signify her return. As a child, my parents warned me about Suzie Snowflake. Around Christmas time, you'll hear 3 taps on your window pane. When you hear this, do not look out the window. And more importantly, do not go outside. The first few nights I heard her, I obeyed instruction without question. However, after hearing the tap, tap, tap every night, my curiosity almost got the better of me. "Is that you, Suzie Snowflake?" I called from my bed. A faint, whistling voice responded, "Please come out and play with me. I haven't long to stay." I got out of bed as quietly as a 5-year-old can, but before I could reach the window, my mom came through the door. She screamed and ran to my window, yanking the curtains shut. I was so frightened of my mother's reaction, I gave up on my curiosity. The tap, tap, tap continued through Christmas Eve, till finally, once Christmas celebrations had subsided, Suzie was gone. Several years passed, and each year I did my best to ignore her tapping. When I was 11, my desire to see Suzie Snowflake became unbearable. It was 3 days till Christmas, and same as every night, I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. I whispered, "Is that you, Suzie Snowflake?" In the same hushed, squeaky voice, she responded, "Please come out and play with me. I haven't long to stay." I snuck out of bed, much quieter this time. The floorboards creaked as I tiptoed toward the window, but my parents were asleep by this time, so they didn't notice. I reached the window and pulled back the curtains, and there she was. Floating right in front of my window was Suzie Snowflake. The first thing I noticed was her size. She was so tiny, not even a foot tall. Her skin was so ghostly pale, she looked almost like porcelain. She was wearing a pristine white ball gown, adorned with minute snowflake details and beading. In contrast to the beauty of her garment were what appeared to be glass shards, jutting straight out of her arms and head with sharp, ragged edges. She was both beautiful and terrifying. Suzie spoke again. "Please come out and play with me. I haven't long to stay." "I'm not supposed to," I told her. "It's okay. I'll help you make a snowman." I was so tempted. I didn't give a fuck about building a snowman. It's cold as shit out there. But damn, I wanted to see her up close. Despite my urges, I decided I'd broken enough rules just looking at her. "No, thank you. I should go back to bed." "It was nice meeting you, Suzie Snowflake." Slowly, I walked back toward my bed, but before I reached it, I heard Suzie's tiny voice yet again. "Are you sure, Jeremy?" I froze. She knew my name. Suzie Snowflake knew my name. How the hell did Suzie Snowflake know my name? I was no longer satisfied with just seeing her from the window. It was time to go outside. I hurried back to the window where Suzie was still waiting for me. "I want to come play, but how can I get outside? If I go downstairs, my parents will hear me." "This window opens, doesn't it?" She was right. All I had to do was open the window and I could be outside. I unlocked the hatch and lifted the bottom half of the window. A frigid gust of wind flew in as the window raised, and she called to me again. "Now please come out and play with me. I haven't long to stay." I forced myself through the window as fast as I could. Only after I'd gone through did I realize my mistake. My room was on the second floor, and I'd just jumped through the window. Before I could scream, I hit the ground with a crack. There was a fresh layer of snow on the ground, but not nearly enough to soften my landing, just enough to make me wet. A sharp pain in my arm kept me from moving, so I just laid there, groaning and crying. It didn't take long for my parents to come out and find me. They picked me up and carried me toward the car. Only then did I remember why I defenestrated. I looked all around, but Suzie Snowflake was nowhere in sight. My arm was broken, and my mom wasn't thrilled that I would be spending Christmas morning in a cast. But I didn't hear the tapping any more that year. The next year she returned with her tap, 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 right on schedule, Thanksgiving night. Every year she resumed her tapping, but I knew how dangerous it was to talk to her. So ever since that night, I've ignored her. Until tonight. It's Thanksgiving Day, which means in a few hours the tapping will return. Last time I saw her through the window, but I didn't get to see her up close. I didn't get to touch her. I know better now than to climb out my window. And I've been keeping my parents liquored up so they won't know or care if I leave my room. Tonight, when I hear her tap, tap, tap on my window pane, I will respond. And finally, I will come out and play.